Listen, family, I want to grab your attentions real quick, and I want to go to the book of Job, the very last chapter of Job. For those of you that's been hanging out with us in Transformation Tuesday, you know we've been dealing with Job for the entire year, and God, interestingly, led me back to it for today. I got one verse for you, but eventually, as we get through the message, we'll cover 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11, but I want to cover, just for the sake of preaching and understanding right now, Job 42 and 10. And this is from my new likable translation, the New Century version of the Bible. So it's the NCV. If you have that, you can look at your phone if you want, or you can look up here at the screen. That's called convenience. And it reads just like this, family, real quick. After Job had prayed for his friends and them, the Lord gave him success again. The Lord gave Job twice as much as he had owned, not rented, not leased, had owned before. For the sake of preaching, let me read it to you one more time. After Job had prayed for his cousins and his friends and all of them, the Lord gave him success again. The Lord gave Job twice as much as he had owned before. Thank God for the reading of the word of God for the people of God. Family, you can have your seats. As we get ready today to close out this faith series, I'm as sad about that as anything. It has been an incredible 8 weeks. It has been an incredible 8 weeks, and we've seen faith manifest in a lot of people. And today, family, I want to talk to us as we close out. If you look up here, the last component of faith, sustaining faith. Now, Brandy, Anthony, I struggled with this word all week because for some reason I just knew it was sustaining. All right, y'all keep looking at me like that. Y'all from the same Southeast Georgia that I'm from, so don't act like, but it's sustaining. See how that works? So if I hear y'all say sustaining like I was like, wait a minute, I tried to Google the word. I was like, it ain't S-U-B? Sustaining faith. Has Siri all messed up. I'm trying to, sustaining, James, we do not understand what, sustaining, what you mean? Sustaining faith. Some of y'all never laugh. Never ever laugh. I want to preach to you today as we talk about sustaining faith from this subject, make it last forever. Make it last forever. If you're about 36 and older, that hit different right there. And if you weren't saved all your life, you know, that hit different. Make it last forever. Interestingly enough, family, on January the 9th, which is the Founders Day of my great fraternity, Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated, on January 9th, 1988, Keith Sweat and Jackie McGee released a hit single entitled Make It Last Forever. And though this song was written and produced by Keith Sweat and musical genius Teddy Riley, and although it also landed on the 59th spot of the 100 Billboard chart, this song, though it had those accolades tied to it with Keith Sweat and Teddy Riley and landing number 59 on the top 100, those are not the things that makes it stand out, though, but rather the highlight of this song is not the writers, the producers, the singers. It's not even where it was ranked on the Billboard chart, but the highlight of this song is the words, make it last forever. Because if you know, like me, Keith Sweat with his nose-pinching voice and singing over this track like nobody else could, repeatedly saying the words, make it last forever and ever. Make it last forever. As he sings this repeatedly over this track with his unique voice like nobody else can, family, I was last week traveling down the highway early week in my truck, and this song mysteriously was playing in my truck. Gospel station had switched the song, and it was mysteriously playing in my truck. And as I'm working on the sermon and singing this song, every word verbatim, as if I was born in that era, I'm singing the words. And as I'm singing these words, the honest truth is, in that moment, Logan, a revelation struck me. And I found myself in a moment now gazing out of the windshield, looking at the lines on the road, but still singing the very words of the song. And then I find myself, because I'm well aware that Keith Sweat, when he's singing these words, make it last forever and ever, he's talking about the love interest of somebody's daughter. So he's trying to make love with somebody's daughter last forever. But in a moment of revelation, as I'm gazing out of the window, driving my truck, looking at the lines on the highway, uttering these words uncontrollably, God hits me with revelation. And now I'm thinking, make it last forever and ever. Please don't let our love end. And I'm sitting here, and now my mood goes from potentially singing or imaginatively singing these words to somebody's daughter. From me, I'm now singing the words of Keith Sweat and Jackie McGee to God the Father. And I'm sitting in my truck and I'm singing these words, and now they have new meaning, and I'm singing them not to someone's daughter, but now to God the Father. And I'm saying to God, make it last forever and ever. Please don't let your love end. Make it last forever and ever. And as I'm singing these words to God, God responds to me silently by reminding me of Hebrews chapter 11 verse 6, that without faith it is impossible to please God. So now something falls on my shoulder, almost like a drip of activator from a light-skinned dude with a Jerry curl in 1988. An angel falls down on my shoulder, drips on my shoulder, and says to me that if you don't have faith, it is impossible for you to please God. And if you cannot please God, it is impossible for you to show God love. And if you cannot show God love, you cannot make it last forever. So now I turn to the angel and ask the angel for permission of understanding. And the angel says, but if you look at Hebrews 11 and 6 and think about faith, that if you do have faith, then now you can please God. And if you can please God, now you can show God love. And if you can show God love, God will make it last forever and ever and won't let his love end. And then I said, well, angel, what exactly would God make last forever? Because Brother Keith, Pastor Keith, Prophet Keith, he was not talking about God's love. He was talking about a young lady's love. So tell me, if I please God, and while pleasing God, I show God love, if I show God love, God will make it last forever. What are you talking about? And then the angel told me, I got to get ready to go, Cray, but here's the introduction of your message. God will make your peace last forever. God will make your joy last forever. God will make your prosperity last forever. But here's the real shout. God will make your soul last forever. For the Bible says that God came, that he sent his son Jesus, that whomever believes in him, watch this, shall have life and life more abundantly. He sent his son that your soul shall last forever. And now, family, it's shoutable for me, and y'all may not get it because it was my revelation, but I understand now that at the end of the day, the only thing that's gonna make it last forever and ever and the love don't end is now having faith. Doesn't that connect just right? And isn't it interesting, for the last 7.5 weeks that we've been talking about faith, and we thought that we were just talking about faith in God. We thought that we were just talking about faith for stuff, but we were talking about faith that could sustain through the trial and tribulation of your life. Because at the end of the day, if you got faith, you can please God. If you can please God, you can show God love. And if you show God love, God will make it last forever and ever. And here's the blessing. He won't let his love end. And is there anybody in this place right now that can match my energy, that you've been waiting to hear from God, that God won't leave you nor forsake you, that God won't place more on you than what you can bear, that God won't leave you in the dark when you need to be be exposed to the light. I thank God that God didn't turn his back on me when everybody else did. I thank God that God didn't walk out of my life when other people did. I thank God that God didn't reject me when the bank did. I thank God that God, when the doctor said no, God said yes. I thank God that no matter what it looks like, God will make it last forever and ever. Please, God, don't let your love end. Yeah, family. When we look at the life and the story of Job, Minister Calvin, it's always been intriguing to me. It's always been interesting because, Bo, if there was a top 3 of the most righteous people in the Bible, then Job is easily in the top 3. According to the book of Job, chapter 1, verse 1, it says that Job was a blameless and upright man. Another translation says he was a man of complete integrity. So if there was a top 3 most righteous people in the Bible, Job is easily in the top 3. And if Job is top 3 most righteous people in the Bible, then that suggests that Job might be ranked number 1 amongst those who had to face agony and turmoil. Why do you say that, Cray? Because I would push it as far to say this, that next to Jesus, that nobody in the existence of man and womankind faced as much agony as Job did. Why do you say that, Cray? Because some of those in the Bible that faced agony, they died. So that kind of released them of the pain. That's why Paul said to be absent from the body is to be present with the Lord. Because Paul knew the pain he had, the thorn he had. Once I leave this old body, I can't feel it no more. But notice Job never got to exit the physical body. So he had to go through all the pain and turmoil. And I would suggest and believe faithfully that if anybody faced agony more next to Jesus, it had to be Job. I believe, family, that Job is ranked number 1 amongst those of all people created that face agony and turmoil. Think about this. The man lost absolutely everything. He lost 7,000 sheep. He lost 3,000 camel. He lost 500 oxen and donkeys. And he lost 10 children, 7 sons and 3 daughters. I can lose the sheep. I can lose the camels. I can lose the oxen and the donkeys. But my children, he lost everything. Can you imagine where he is in the state of mind? He lost all that he had, his money, he lost it. All the financial assets, he lost them. He lost the confidence from his wife. He lost that. He lost the confidence from his friends. In fact, Job goes from having something to absolutely nothing. In chapter 1, verse 3 of Job's work, it says that he was the greatest man in the East, and he goes from being the greatest man in the East to being broke and broken, to be depressed and discouraged. He has absolutely nothing, and I can't make y'all understand it enough. You still got some of your stuff, so you don't understand the nature of what he has lost. He lost his health. He lost his own confidence, and at some points he almost lost his hope. But then I thought about it all week, family. I thought about all that Job lost. He lost his sheep. He lost his donkeys. He lost his oxen. He lost his camels. He lost 10 children. He lost the confidence that his wife had in him. He lost the confidence that his friends had in him. He lost everything. But one thing I thought about that he did not lose is he didn't lose his mind. Y'all ain't reading it like I'm reading it. And you know why that felt good to me? Because I thought about some of y'all and even myself. Can you look back over your life last week and think about some of the stuff that you might have lost? Some of us lost. In fact, some of you, the stuff that you've been through in your life, it would have made other people lose their mind. They would have been walking around cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, but somehow, some way, you woke up this morning, watch this, clothed in your right mind. You didn't try to put your socks on your hand, and you didn't try to put your underwear on your chest and your shirt on your behind, but you woke up in your right mind. And somebody ought to be glad right now that all the stuff that you lost in your life, you might have lost a car to the repo man, you might have lost a house or an apartment, you may have lost a boo or a bae that you thought was going to be the one, but aren't you glad you ain't lose your mind? I thank God that I did not lose my mind, because some of the stuff that you've been through, other people lost their mind, but God kept you. God made a way for you. God kept you intact. He did not allow you to lose your mind. Why is that good, Cray? Because the Bible told me this. If I keep my mind stayed on him, then he'll keep my mind in perfect peace. So aren't you glad that even when you don't have the most energy, you still got your mind? Here, let me match the gas while I'm already here. The Bible tells me, so as a man or woman think in their mind. Y'all ain't church. I'm feeling churchy today more. So as a man or woman think in their mind, watch this, so are they. So if I don't have clothes, if I don't have stuff, if I lose the job, if I lose the person, as long as I can think in my mind, I can think myself out of this situation. I can think myself in a better situation. I can think myself to the next level. I can think myself in a right relationship. I thank God that out of all the stuff you lost and that I lost, that you did not lose your mind. Some of y'all still ain't got it yet. In the midst of the world's worst pandemic, you might have lost some stuff, you might have lost some time, but you ain't lose your mind. They walked out of your life, they left you with absolutely nothing. They wrote you off, but you might have lost the house, you might have lost the car, you might have lost them, but you ain't lose your mind. And aren't you glad right now that God saw fit to let you keep your mind? We harp on everything that Job lost, Teresa, but the brother did not lose his mind. Job for 38 chapters, Job suffers, Jayla. For 38 chapters, he's going through turmoil. For 38 chapters, Job is in agony, and God doesn't say nothing. For 38 chapters, he's losing his health, is failing. He's lost all his assets, and God does not say nothing. For 38 chapters, Job is in the worst situation a person can be in, Isaiah, and God does not say nothing. 38 chapters could have been a week, it could have been months, it could have been years, however long it was. Job is going through turmoil and agony, but God does not say nothing. Can I pause and park right there and ask you a question? Have you ever felt like in your life you was going through chaos and Hades and God did not say nothing? I know some of y'all are too deep to believe that. Maybe I need to talk to the people on the camera, because some of us have been in situations where we were wondering, God, wait a minute now. I seen you do it for somebody else. Why is you talking to them? They ain't even going to church. God, why is you talking to? Yeah, see how y'all, I know it's real because I've been there yesterday. I'm looking at somebody like, God, I ain't seen them in church in 3 years. Why are you talking to them? God, why are you talking to them? You ain't said nothing to me. Have you ever found yourself in a situation and you wonder, why in the world am I praying the way I'm praying? I've been going to church, I've been worshiping, I've been tithing, I've been fasting, I've been serving, but God does not seem to be saying anything to you. If we're not careful in those very moments when it feels as if God is not saying nothing, when God finally speaks, it can seem as if God's word is too late. For 38 chapters, Job is suffering, and God does not speak to him until chapter 38. And after all Job has lost, after all he's been through, it could seem in our natural minds that when God finally decides to talk, his word is too late. And some of y'all looking at me real funny right there. But the reality is we've been talking about this for a long time. And that's why grandmama them had the rebuttal, because we thought that God's word was too late. But grandmama said he may not come. Okay, when you want him, but he'll always be on time. And here's the point right here, family, that even when God decides to speak, his word is still on time. It may seem late in your life. Sometimes God can speak to you after the bill is already due, but God's word is still on time. And I can't speak for anybody in this place, but I know for your life and for my life, that seemed as if God spoke sometimes too late. Well, anytime God speaks, it's still on time. Yeah, Job, for 38 chapters, I'm trying to get to the point. For 38 chapters, Abraham, Job has suffered. And in his suffering, God has been silent. And now in chapter 38, Khalil, God finally decides to talk. And for 4 chapters, 38, 39, 40, and 41, God speaks and Job listens. And finally, in chapter 42, in the opening, Job speaks for the last time to God. And the narrator comes, and what the narrator does is closes out the story of Job's life for us. But not only does this narrator close out the story of Job's life, this narrator in chapter 42 has closed out this series of faith for us. How did he do that, Cray? This narrator closes out this series of faith for us while closing out the story of Job's life by exposing sustaining faith to us. And the way that this narrator exposes sustaining faith to us is the narrator tells us what sustaining faith is. Are y'all ready to go in? He lets us know, or she lets us know, this narrator lets us know that sustaining faith, number one, is faith that will refocus people's perspective. Let me walk it slow for you. I'm going to try to teach through this, and I mean it this time. Opinions are typically generated by people's feelings about you. So if a person feels a certain way about you, they typically have an opinion about you. So if they like you, but you don't like them, they may have an opinion about you. If you dress fly and they don't like the way you dress and they have a certain feeling about how you dress, that may form an opinion about you. Opinions are typically formed by how people feel about you. But perspective is not based on how people feel about you, but perspective is based on what they see. Okay, how you gonna work this, Cray? People's opinions is based on their feeling about you, but perspective is based on what they see. They can feel a way and it not be true, but they can't deny what they see. Yeah. So how is that connected? Watch what happens with Job in this situation. God is done talking to Job at the beginning of chapter 42. When Job talks back to God, this is Job's final time speaking. Job and God are done with their dialogue. But then God starts a new conversation according to the narrator. In verse 7, 8, and 9, God says to Job's friends, I'm mad with y'all. Why, God? Eliphaz, Timdad, Bildad. Why are you mad with us, God? Because you did not honor me the same way that Job did. Okay, run it back. Make it connect. Y'all didn't have the same faith in me like Job had in me. So now my conversation with y'all, I'm angry with you. And watch what he tells them. He says, now the only way you gonna get a prayer across, you gotta go talk to Job and get Job to pray for you to me. Okay. Teach it. Their opinion about Job happened for nearly 36 chapters. They consistently offer, Job, you must have did something wrong to why you're experiencing what you're experiencing. That's an opinion based off how they feel. Job, you cannot be righteous because the way you're experiencing the stuff you're going through, you had to do something sinful. That's their opinion based off of how they feel. But the fact that Job made it to chapter 42 lets you know that they looked at him and said, we might have felt that you did something wrong, but you survived and lets us know you must have did something right. And that's somebody's life in here. Maybe that's just mine. That people can look and form an opinion based off of what you're going through. They may see you down. They may see you Mayan driving a car with one eye and the bump in the back hanging off. And then they think because you're going through that, then you must not be living your life right until they see you pull up in a Dodge Ram Laramie. And now what they see, they can't deny what they seen. And some of you right now have allowed yourself to get bent out of shape based on someone's opinion about you when you got to understand they can't deny what they see. And if your faith is visible, if your faith is noticeable, then you don't have to worry about the opinion. Just keep walking in your faith. Why? Because the Bible says we do what? We walk by faith and we're not walking by sight. And if you walk in your faith, eventually it becomes noticeable, and doubters and haters and people can't deny what they see. Watch it. Watch it right here. The text says 7, 8, and 9, the verses. The text says that God is angry with Job's friends because they have not spoken the truth about God the same way that Job did. So God tells them this: the only way you're going to get a prayer across is Job has to come to me and pray to me on behalf of y'all. And somebody that just rung a bell right there, that there's some people that have been discrediting you, lying on you, cheating you. And let me give you this prophecy right here: the next prayer they get across got to come through you. So stop trying to fight with them on Facebook. Stop going back and forth with your family members. We ain't going to worry about that right now, because the same family members that have been discrediting you, talking about you, putting you down, belittling you, are the same ones that's going to need you to pray when they're laying on a hospital bed. They're the same ones that's going to need you to pray over their finances. They're the same one that's going to call you and say, can you pray over little baby? He acting up in school. Or can you pray over little Ray Lisa? She crying and acting up in school. And you're going to have to be the one that steps up and pray on their behalf. Maybe y'all can't shout over that because you've never been that person. But let me testify real quick. The same ones that told me and my family that I was going to be just like my daddy and you just going to be just like your mama, you're going to be an alcoholic, sell drugs, do drugs, are the same ones that call me right now. Hey, nephew, can you pray for me? Hey, nephew, can you lift me up? Hey, nephew, can you cover me? And I'm just testifying from me on behalf of you, because there's some people right now that's talking about you. They're at home, you're in church, but I'm letting you know prophetically that before they get another prayer across, it got to come through you. Because God has saw what? Your faith. And the fact that you allowed your faith to sustain through all the stuff you had to go through, God is going to honor your sustaining faith by changing their perspective. Millie Alls, they still going to talk the stuff they talk, but what they can't do is deny what they see. I'm so glad that God is not a God based on people talking, but based on what they can see. God is getting ready to change perspective. Folk thought they knew you, but they never saw you. Folk thought they had an idea, but they never saw you. Folk thought that was you, but they never saw you. And thank God you're getting ready to show up now. And is there anybody that's going to walk in the building with your chest out and you're not boasting in you, but you're boasting in him, because you know your faith is noticeable, that your faith was confident, that your faith is contagious, that you got sledgehammer faith. And the fact that you got that kind of faith, when I show up, I'm not worrying about what you say, because I know you got to see what you I got to move on. God didn't just tell them that they were going to have to get a prayer through Job. He also said, you're going to have to take your offering to Job. Okay, y'all read that in your spare time. That's a whole nother sermon. He said, make sure that you take your burnt offering and get that to Job too. And then make sure, if you want a prayer to get through, ask Job to pray for you, because that's the only way I'm going to listen. Here it is, family. Number one, Danielle, this is what sustaining faith is. Sustaining faith is faith that refocuses perspective. But also it exposes to us, Justin, that sustaining faith is faith that replenishes and replaces. This is the verse that we get excited at. Verse 10, that's my favorite number, 10. Verse 10 says, don't miss this, after Job prays for his friends. Now that's a sermon that I got to preach another time, because, and that we love to scream, double for his trouble. Y'all heard that? Job got double for his trouble. I'm going to break that down in a second and dismiss that. But double for his trouble. He got double for his trouble. No. It's not that easy. He prayed for the folks that dissed him first. See, you talking about you going through and you keep screaming, oh, I'm going to get double for my trouble. I'm going to get double for my trouble. Not if you don't pray for the people that lied on you. I'm going to get double for my trouble. No, not if you don't pray for the people that rejected you. He prayed for his friends, and then the text says, I like this translation, he got success again. Let me help y'all. I've been on these little illustration things lately, right? So I'm a visual learner. I didn't pay attention in class and get it like that. I had to stay after school with the teacher, and she had to write it right here and show me what that says right there and make it make sense to me. Draw boxes, triangles, circles, so I get it, right? Y'all don't act like I ain't slow now. I ain't slow by any means. I'm just a visual learner, right? So I'm not taking Logan. I'm not taking the tag off these. We taking them back, okay? So this is what sustaining faith will do. if the text says in verse 10, Tiger, that after Job prays for his friends, God gave him success again, that implies that he had success before. Y'all got me? Basic understanding, right? So I'm talking to God. I said, God, I want to do an illustration, show the people. I said, God, I want to know, how can we compare this whole idea of replenish versus replace? And God told me it's like comparing apples to oranges. I said, God, that's no problem. I'll just go get apples and oranges. So I had to get apples I like. Job was successful before. He had apples in his basket before. Right? He goes through his experience for 38 chapters. He loses 7,000 camel. I'll put 2. He loses 3,000 camels, 7,000 sheep. He lost his 10 children. Watch this. His old lady, that's old school. His girl, his wife, he lost her confidence. What she tell bruh? She said, curse God and die. His 3 friends came over. They accused him of sin, told him that you got to be doing something wrong. I know you was creeping because that's why God treat you like this. That's why you got them things on your skin. You had to be doing. He lost confidence from his friends. And then, if you remember one verse that we shot over, he almost lost hope in himself. But then he turned around and said, though he slay. Okay, y'all don't remember that. That's in Job. He almost lost hope in himself. And the brother's basket was empty. Right? But now in verse 42, after he's went through all that he's went through, verse 10 says, watch this, and God gave him success again. Another translation said, and God gave back to him what he lost. So what are you saying? So God gave him the basket that he had before. God gave him the apple that he had before. The other apple. God replenished what he had before. So everything you lost, when you learn to pray for those that did you wrong, watch this, your faith that you already got will get you what you used to have. Whew. So because he was able, watch this, to sustain his faith through the trial and tribulation, God gave him success again. God gave him back what he lost. But then verse number 10 says this. And then God gave him, twice what he had before. So twice means if he had one basket, he had to have 2. Okay, y'all missing it. And if he got apples, and God is gonna replace. If God replenish, that means God put back what was there. But if God is gonna replace and add, he gotta go from apples to oranges. So the text says God replenished what he had. Filled his back. But the text says, and God gave him twice as much as what he had before. And this the part that blessed me right here. That as he was getting oranges, the basket starts to fill up. And I'm going to jump ahead of myself to make it make sense. And later the text comes back and assures us of something. Because y'all missed this when you're reading it. One text, portion of the text, verse 10 says, and he gave him twice as much. But a couple verses down, it says, and the latter years of his life will be better. So if you were hurt in the previous years of your life, the latter years will be better. Oh my God. If you got sick, Naomi Smith, in the early years, then that's a confirmation that the latter years of your life will be better. Watch this. I'm ahead of myself, but I got to go ahead and shout you right here. And then it tells us what Job got. That blessed me. I'm a scholar. I study, I read. So God, if you already gave the brother twice as much as he had, so this addition to the latter years means that's even more. So we've been shouting over double for his trouble when he really got quadruple. Good. He got twice as much before we get to the amount of what he got. He's still in a youthful stage of his life when he got twice. Then the narrator says, and later you're going to get 14,000 sheep. And you're going to get 6,000 camels. And you're going to get 1,000 oxen. And 1,000. In fact, this is what he said. You're going to get overflow. Because the Bible says that God will open up the windows of heaven and pour you out blessings that you don't have room enough to receive. And I thank God that God is not just going to replace, but God is going to replenish. God is going to add. God is going to multiply. God is going to quadruple. All you got to do is keep your faith. I got to get to the third point. The text says God added twice as much at this stage in Job's life, and later God is going to give you 14,000, 6,000, 1,000, 1,000, and I'm going to give you 10 children back. Okay, a brother should have got, brothers, y'all, okay. Cover the children's ears. And you had 10 children on the front end. Now, children just don't miraculously come. Okay, grown-ups, can I just push this point just a little bit, then I'm done? So you're not just going to get your money back. You're not just going to get your stuff back, but you're going to get your mojo back. Okay. Okay, I can't wait to get married. So he has 10 children on the back end. And watch this. The text says to his family, here's the third and final thing, that it exposes. Sustaining faith does this. It reconnects. Let me help y'all. Verse 11, we missed this. And I'm done. I'm supposed to be talking through this point. Verse 11 says, watch this. This is for you. His brothers and sisters come to his house. Right? Let me show y'all something. This is for somebody watching on Facebook Live. God has some silent blessings for you too. Where do you get that from, Cray? The Bible ain't tell us that God gave him another house until now when his brothers and sisters come back to his house. What are you saying? Stop praying for the house. That's a given. Okay, all right. You wasting energy praying for the house. God gonna do that anyway. The text never tells us that God gave him his house back. We just found out because why? His brothers and sisters are now at his house having dinner. But this is the part that got me, that helps us with the reconnection. This is what your sustaining faith will do for you. It will reconnect you. Watch this. We have never heard of Job having brothers and sisters in all 41 chapters. Never heard of him having brothers and sisters in all 41 chapters. But now that he's gotten twice as much and he's gotten quadruple, now he's healthy again. Now there's his brothers and sisters come back, here it is, and reconnect. Let me bless y'all with this real quick. Logan, this last week was a little trying, right? Because we got some new devices and stuff for Impact. We got these 2 new iPads. Well, the only way you're going to get the iPads through Verizon is somebody got to have an account. And what I wasn't aware of is that when they make it easy. Just call. All you got to do is call, and we'll overnight them if you want to. We'll overnight the I'm like, yeah, send the brand new devices. We ready. Send them on up. But what they don't tell you, though, if you have anything lingering on your previous bill, Verizon will disconnect. So we get the new devices in the mail. I go to turn the new devices on. I'm hyped. I can't wait to tell Mimi we got new devices. But the problem is, the previous month. I was trying to get me a truck. So I did what many of us do. I partially, I'm telling y'all all my business. That Dodge Ram, 27 gallons. So I said, you know what, Verizon, I'm going to give y'all partial payment. So I gave them partial payment. But when the devices came in, because there was lingering money on my bill, the devices wouldn't power up. So I'm swiping. I'm trying to get it. There's no LTE in the corner. I'm like, wait a minute now. So now I'm mad. I called Verizon. Listen, I just ordered, Haley, these new devices. And I know I got LTE. I know I got unlimited data. I know what I got. And the man said, sir. I said, nah, ain't no sir. I've been with y'all 20 years. I was over here when it was Alltel, and now it's Verizon. And y'all gonna sit here and act like you gonna disconnect me? I don't know what's going on. Well, ain't no tower problem. What's going on? Yeah, I'm doing all that. I learned this from somewhere. That's learned behavior. I learned this from somewhere. Right. My mama, she taught me how to handle. So I'm upset. And he said, sir, listen, the problem is, it's not you, sir. He said, the problem is you had a couple dollars, not a couple for real. You had some money lingering on your previous bill. I said, how in the world you? Then I thought. I did pay that partial payment. And he said, when you have something lingering on your bill, he says, typically, if it's not all paid in full when you get the new devices, then we will disconnect. So now his good customer service has brought me back to earth. So I'm like, well, sir, I really wish somebody would have told. I'm talking like this now. So, sir, I wish now somebody would have told me what was going on, and I want to apologize for my attitude. I'm a pastor, I know the Lord gonna make a way. That's what it's gonna be all right. He was like, sir, it's no problem. He giggled, he laughed. He said, but this is what I'm gonna do for you. He said, because you've been a loyal customer, and you have been with us, sir, for 18 years. You were with us when it was Alltel, and I see now you had to be with us when it became Verizon. I said, yes, sir. 18 years. I thought it was 20, but 18 years. I've been with you. He said, this is what I'm going to do. He says, because you've been a loyal customer. Here it is. Let me help y'all. Because you were able to sustain through 18 years with us. He said, I'm going to He said, take the bill now and put it on next month's bill, but right now I'm going to reconnect you because you've been loyal. And I'm trying to tell somebody right now, what your sustaining faith will do for you is it'll get you favor in areas that'll reconnect when you don't even deserve it. And I thank God that's just a small thing that God reconnected my phone, because some of y'all was going to call and I didn't need them coming on with an operator talking about this number has been. Yeah, I didn't need that. But I thank God that God showed me revelation in that if God can help me get my phone reconnected, then there's nothing that I lost that God can't reconnect. And Impact, here's where you gonna celebrate right here, because your faith is gonna sustain through this transition, because you got faith to stand up on your own, because you've been trained, because you're ready. People that got disconnected are about to reconnect to this place. People that got disconnected to you, they're about to reconnect to you, all because your faith was sustained. I got to let y'all go right here. The man said, Mr. Cray, because you've been a loyal customer, we're going to put this on the back end of next month's bill. And right now, I'm going to reconnect you. But let me walk y'all through this real quick. Verse 11 don't end like that, though. It tells us that Job is now reconnected based on his faith. sustaining faith, God reconnects him to brothers and sisters that we've never heard of. But then the text really blessed me, and I'm going to bless you with my story, and we got to go. The text then says that one translation, the Good News translation, says to us, it says, Miss Silverjean, that on the back end, that his brothers and sisters, they didn't come empty-handed. See, I was tripping, and some of you was too, because I'm thinking like, now y'all gonna show up. I got my house back. I got double and quadruple for my trouble now. Y'all gonna show up now. But then it blessed me, because the end of verse 11 says to us in the Good News translation that when his brothers and sisters came, they brought him money and a gold ring. See, here's the problem with some of us. We got people connected to us that we reconnect with that ain't got nothing. But see, here's what I'm trying to do for you in 2021. I'm trying to make sure you get connected to folk that got assets that can help you. Because aren't you tired of helping people with the stuff you got and they can't help you with the stuff they got? So you got to make sure you got divine connections and you're not just connected to anybody, because some people will suck the life out of you. But you got to make sure, Justice, that you don't allow people to see where you are right now and they start connecting to you because of where you are right now. But make sure the folk that connect to you can add to what you already got going on. And it's amazing when two come together that can offer something. For the Bible says that two get a better return on their work. You got to make sure when you reconnect that you're reconnecting to somebody that brings assets to the table. Let me go ahead and bless y'all and get on out of here. So his brothers and sisters brought gold and they brought money to the table. But watch this. The dude told me on the phone, he said, Mr. Cray, we're going to put that on the back end of your bill. We're going to reconnect you right now, and we're going to give you 30% off your bill next month. Okay. Yeah. So the reconnection was, I already have faith enough to believe that it ain't going to be no problem either way. The bill is going to get paid. I could have paid it last time. I just chose not to. And I wanted to add these devices, and now it's going to increase the bill. But I already got faith enough to believe that whatever I walk into, God has already taken care of it. And what I'm trying to tell you right now, don't you be afraid to leap on faith. Don't you be afraid to step out. Don't you be afraid to go after every dream, aspiration, goal that you got set in your life. Don't you get caught up in people's opinions. Just let them see that you're operating in faith. And sometimes faith means you got to step all the way across to California. Sometimes faith means you got to go outside of Hazelhurst. Sometimes faith stepping out on it means you got to get outside the people that you're most familiar with. And some of us right now, when you step out on faith that has been sustaining, God is going to reconnect you to some stuff that's going to give you a discount, that's going to bring you money, that's going to bring you gold, that's going to bring you peace, that's going to bring you joy, that's going to bring you mindset. I got to get y'all out of here. I'm going to give y'all this and I'm done. Mr. Foster, I appreciate you coming today. I'm going to give him this and we done. Krista, I love you. I'm going to give y'all this and then I'm done. Nikki, make sure we get this. It's got to be a sermon one day or something. Chapter 42, at the beginning, God comes back after not saying nothing, Brandy, for 38 chapters. And now he talks to Job for 4. Comes back in verse 40, in chapter 42, and then he starts talking to Eliphaz, Timnah, and Bildad, Job's friends. Then the narrator comes back and tells us that Job got his 10 kids back. And it tells us that he gets reconnected, Kira, to his brothers and sisters. But there's one person who's not mentioned that God said a word to them. Why would God come back and talk to Job? We can understand that. Job been talking to God. But Job's 3 friends, why would God come back and talk to them, but not talk to Job's wife? I'm tripping now because I'm a believe women. I'm a woman activist. Some of you may not know, but every year I send money, whether it's a little or a lot, send money to the House of Rahab, domestic violence house. So now I'm bothered. I'm like, what in the misogyny world is this? What in the patriarchal society is this? That God, the writer gonna make sure that we know, watch this now, that God talked to 4 men. Job, Eliphaz, Timnah, Bildad, all them brothers, but didn't say a word to the woman. Wait a minute, God. And I'm a little. I talk with God like this. I'm fruit during preparation time. In fact, this is when it came this morning, Minister Cower. I ain't got my truck. It's already gone to California, right? So I'm walking, literally. So I get up about 6 o'clock this morning. I ain't gonna flex. My mom's fiance offered me a ride, but I was like, nah, I'm gonna walk this morning. So I walk a mile and a half from my mom's place up to the church. And it's dark now. It's super dark, clear, for real dark. And the lighting system is horrible in Hazelhurst, just Mayor Stone. And it's dark. And I start thinking then, wait a minute. Because I'm preparing. This is how I prepare. I go through the sermon. I'm like, why didn't God talk to this woman? After all, this Job's wife. And then it came to me. See, Job's friends, it wasn't about sexism. It wasn't about misogyny. It wasn't about patriarchy. See, Job's friends, they never spoke against God. They spoke against Job. They said, Job, you did something. God is still good, but you did something. In fact, they said, God is so good, what you did, right? But she said, why don't you curse God and die? So that thing hit me. God is cool with you having the wrong information. That can be corrected. Job's friends just were misinformed about who God was. God, watch this. God said, I'm going to chastise you because you're misinformed now. Not so much because you're misinformed, but because you spoke on what you're misinformed about. Preachers that are out there preaching that are misinformed about information that you don't know nothing about, and you preaching and twisting the text, you're going to be chastised, but God can work with that. But when you say, curse God, they spoke against Job, you spoke against me, and now God won't talk to her. And this is what I'm saying to somebody in the room. I'd much rather be chastised by God than God to deliberately not talk to me. So in all your wrong, don't curse God, even if you're misinformed. Because the Bible says he chastens those he loves. So his chastisement reminds me that he loves me, but him turning his head lets me know I'm on my own. And we never hear from Job's wife again, because the narrator only tells us what happens in Job's life and not hers. It says, and Job got twice, and Job got this, and Job lived this long, and Job died, and it never tells us what happened to Job's wife, because she said, curse God and die. Everyone standing real quick.